Hi, this is Melissa Perkins, and I'm presenting on Module 9, the case study of when ethics and policies collide. So I just wanted to show first the NELP standard that was covered, Standard 2, Components 2.2 and 2.3, which we'll get back to at the end of the presentation. So a summary, where did this take place? This took place at Rocket Junior High School. There's 900 students in the school. The incident occurred on school property. It was in the hallway. It was during school hours. The people that were involved, I'll first go through Richard. He's a first-year assistant principal from that grew up in the South Side and attended school there previously. He has an agenda, as it says, to reach the South Side students. He plays basketball after school with James, and there's no indication that it's a formal program that all students can get involved with. James is a 15-year-old muscular and tattooed male student. He's the leader of this South Side student group that gets bused to the junior high school. He has a prior history of fighting at school. Recently, he's been tardy on a number of occasions. Hasn't been questioned yet why. He does have the basketball connection with Richard, the assistant principal for after school. David Ramos is a slight built young scholar, honors class participant. He's a standout trombonist in the band. No discipline violation, and has had little interaction with the assistant principal prior to this incident. David Ramos's mother was unaware. She's a minor player in this, but she said she was unaware of the policy on the weapons and expulsion. There was also a discussion with James's mother, and she didn't mention being aware or not aware of any policy, but was happy to let her son go into detention to teach him a lesson. The fifth period teacher plays a vital role because she is someone who is the person who called and said she had suspected a drug handoff from James to David. Again, that was an informal phone call to the assistant principal, and it was made right after she had heard an announcement that James was going to the office. There's a school police officer that plays a role because he does handcuff the students after an incident. And there's a director of secondary education that gets involved to tell Richard what he recommends him to do, and which is to follow policy. Continuing on with the summary, kind of what exactly happened. Sorry, I'm going to adjust this just slightly. James was brought a prohibited weapon, brass knuckles, to school, and upon being called to the assistant principal's office for tardies, did own up that he had forced another student, David, to hold the brass knuckles. After the assistant principal, Richard, called James to the office, a teacher reported seeing James hand something to David and speculated that it was drugs that he handed him. Richard made a decision to call James, David, and the police officer to his office to discuss the exchange. James admitted, "I told David I would beat him up if he didn't hold the knucks for me, or brass knuckles for me. Those are mine. I was going to use them after school to take care of some personal business." What we do find out is that there's a zero tolerance school board policy that requires expulsion greater than or equal to 45 days into the district discipline alternative education program, DAEP, if in possession of prohibited weapons, so anybody in possession. And the school police must charge any student with the felony. So in this case, it meant that he took him directly to jail. and then on to a youth detention facility. The school policy requires expulsion papers be filled out by the assistant principal in this case if a weapon is found. And Richard decided to follow this for James and not David. The director of secondary education encouraged Richard to follow policy and expel David, or an official reprimand would be written up and go into Richard, the assistant principal's file. So legal versus ethical issues. Kind of on the ethical side, the assistant principal has an agenda to reach Southside's kids where he grew up. So anyway, this seems to really be focused on a group of kids. He didn't at all know the honor student, which shows that maybe he has a bias for Southside kids, or at least an affinity towards helping them specifically versus the broader population. The teacher reports speculation of drug exchange. One has a history and one doesn't have a history. So she's kind of being, really focused on the kids that may have had prior history of it. And that could be kind of biasing her towards James, not David, having something in possession. The assistant principal does not investigate or seek guidance from more seasoned school leaders before making a decision. Instead, in parallel, calls the police and both students to his office for questioning. Again, I think this is, or maybe for the first time, I do think that this is a confidentiality issue. And parents were not contacted until the youths are taken to the detention facility. So after the whole incident, calling him to the principal's office, being handcuffed and taken to jail, and then on to the detention facility, are parents contacted. At least one parent said she was not aware of the school policy. And the officer, another ethics issue, the officer searches, then handcuffs David upon finding possession of the brand of the brass knuckles. And also, against school policy, the assistant principal selectively files expulsion papers for James and not David, using perceptions as a bias. The historical views of the students were taken into account. On the legal side, there's the zero tolerance board policy that we discussed a minute ago, and the school police must charge the students with a felony. So what is kind of bottom line to synthesize it? There does not seem to be requirements to investigate suspicious activity and or involve principal, teacher, students privately. One-on-one versus in the group of the multiple people being called in at a time. Parent or parents prior to taking police involved action. There is a zero tolerance board policy that some parents are not aware of that requires expulsion into the discipline program DAEP. So that's kind of the bottom line. In this case, the original report was of suspected drugs, and it turned out to be a possession of a weapon. And all of this was stemmed just because one student was called to the office to discuss futarities. So people, who are the people involved? The assistant principal, we discussed, the director of secondary education, the police officer, the fifth period teacher that reported the incident, the students, James being the leader of the South Side. David Ramos appears to be an innocent bystander, although we may not know the facts. He was in the hall. He didn't own up to having any involvement in this. In fact, he was silent. James did indicate that it wasn't his fault, that he forced him, kind of bullied him into taking the knuckles. We don't know that for sure because there was not an investigation. Parents involved are James's mother. She was okay with having her son expelled, and then David's mother, who was very angry and immediately went to the school. and was unaware of the policy. So unknown are mentors, ethics, and or policy training available or mandatory for new school employees, in this case, the assistant principal. Is there a school process for teachers to report suspicious activity to administration? Is there a school administration process for making student discipline / ethics decisions and or investigating? And are parents provided school policies? Place, Rocket Junior High School, where there is busing in students from the south side. That is the place that occurred. Again, we talked about that it was on school property during school time and in the hallway that this incident occurred. What is unknown is the demographics of the school is not given or are not given. The programs, we know from the case study that the district has the DAEP program. Richard thinks of this as quote unquote a hellhole. The school supports some clubs, the mention of bands and the honors program. The police officer is part of the school, and there is a director of secondary education that is at least aware of the weapons policy. After school basketball for Southside students seems to be led by the assistant principal, not the school, and maybe that's just with James. We don't know that other kids are involved. Unknown, how are police policies put in place and periodically reviewed at the school? What policy training is mandated within the school system at all levels? How are demographic data reviewed to look for intersections, and what variables may negatively have influenced the on-time arrival, since this was originally about tardies? What data collection system is in place for reporting such things, like the teacher reporting that she suspected someone was passing off drugs in the hallway? Is it approved by anyone, or must it be looked at by anyone versus a phone call to a person that immediately takes action? And really, what culture is promoted in the school, and is the Southside integration and busing into the system new? So there's a lot of things unknown. So Rocket Junior High, kind of prioritizing what is at stake. The first year assistant principal is feeling trapped between policy and ethics. David is feeling, he was told by James, that he would be beat up. So it looks like he's very traumatized by this, where James has kind of taken it in stride because he's gone through it before. But the bottom line is the future of David and others being bullied at Rocket High, as well as the reputation of the policy and decision makers, are at stake. And does the school do what is best for the students versus just what's the letter of the law? So here I've given some options. Take no action, take immediate action, gather information, and outline this briefly here. And I'll go on here. The consequences, the level of risk is high, medium, and low in these incidents, or in these choices. I'm going to keep going so that I don't run out of time here. Take no action. I believe the pros are there's no resources needed, but it is high risk that bullying continues and that David's future is impacted. Immediate action, modify the policies, revise the student reporting, just make immediately what we think would be ways to correct that. I think, I'm not sure that there are, the pros are, that change occurs. There is a medium risk. Perhaps not all the stakeholders will buy into it, or everything that we need to make these changes may not be taken into account if there's a knee-jerk reaction. Additionally, we could gather information and have a cross-functional team of stakeholders. And then there's low risk there. It gets motivated student advocates involved and drives to understand the challenges and the opportunities. So my suggestion would be to gather additional information, form a data evaluation team and have a cross-functional team really investigate this and look into the policies for decision making, student reporting, and also